Welcome back to the Main Stand Podcast, Season 2, Episode 38. What an FA Cup. We've got so much to talk about, even though the Premier League is finished. We've got transfer updates. We've got a big CL final ahead of us, boys. How we feeling?
The nerves have kind of started to set in for me. I watched a hype post on City's Instagram like 10 minutes ago of them leaving and landing in Istanbul. So I'm starting to it's starting to get real.
As it should.
It's a long flight from England. Jet lag might take a couple days to wear off for the boys.
We won the FA Cup hungover, all right. I'm not worried.
I think Pat's living a good life towards the end of the season. This obviously would complete the best treble you can do, and it would just put you on a path of winning even more trophies next year. So
It'd be historic. We'll get into that when we get
later,
there.
Yeah. But Mitch is right. I mean, there's been a lot happening, I think, since the end of the Premier League. Not even a lot we touched on because I don't think we've recorded since the end of the Premier League.
No.
So obviously that kind of wrapping up, seeing all the relegated sides and how everything kind of panned out. Liverpool finishing in Europe. And then we just go into, the off season here, the short one that we have in soccer. And I would say that the first week or so of the off season has already been wild because we probably had the biggest transfer drop of all time. One of, which is Messi announcing that he's not going back to Barcelona. He's actually going to go to David Beckham's Inter Miami. Something we've talked about on the podcast before, but, Pat is our kind of in-house Messi guy, so I do want his take on it.
Dude, I think it's great. I actually think this, like, people kind of talked about David Beckham elevating the MLS to like a certain level when he came, but like the fact that the like widely accepted greatest player of all time to this day is coming to the MLS off of it's a good season. That's like the part I don't think a lot of people are like putting together is Messi is coming off of a 40 GA season in a top 5 European league, and he's
In a World Cup
and
win.
a World Cup winning campaign, and he's coming to the MLS for at least 1 or 2 years. That is insane. Like Messi could still be playing at any top club in Europe, and he's coming to the MLS.
A World
Like
Cup,
that,
he had 11 goal comps in.
yeah. He's coming off of like a really really good season, even by his standards, and he's joining America. He's going to be running at like college seniors in defenses. Like Inter Miami are in an interesting position because they're bottom of the East right now. I don't know if Messi plays this season. To be fair, maybe a little bit, but I think next season is when we get a lot out of him. The crazy thing for me is, are Inter Miami going to be playing, or any team playing Inter Miami going to like be changing their venues to get more seats? Because I don't think there's going to be a game that Messi plays in that isn't sold out. Just the chance to see him is going to do giant things for this league. Like I'm already thinking about the 23-24 season. How can I see Messi? Because this is our last chance. This is our best chance to see the GOAT live in person. And you like it's just an opportunity I have to take. I'm going to be there. I will be on that Lionel Messi goodbye tour in the States. I will see him play live. I will see Lionel Messi with my own two eyes. No matter what happens, I'll pay any amount of money. I will be seeing Messi when he comes
All I
to the
have to
States.
say is Pat saying any amount of money, and we as American MLS fans pay, $30 to sit in the fan section at our respective venues. Ticketmaster had $1,400 ticket uh, upticks within the first hour of the announcement, and that's just unheard of in the MLS. It's absolutely insane. The people want Messi. I think it's great for growing the game locally, especially for for the younger generation of players that have been able to grow up watching him, to be able to now play with him. I think this is great for football in America, if I'm being completely honest. Um, a lot of work went into to bringing him over to Major League Soccer.
Yeah, Josh, did you see all of the inner workings of the Lionel Messi deal as a guy who's maybe a bit more on like the business side of the football spectrum and kind of
Sure.
has your own thoughts there? Did you see the deal? Do you see
He
everything
gets
that?
part of the Apple TV revenue, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's crazy. Talk about something unprecedented. I just watched Air, the movie about
Yep.
Michael Jordan and signing with Nike, and that was kind of unprecedented at the time to get royalties on shoes. This is like one of those deals. It's like we talk about generational wealth a lot with these guys, especially like with going to Saudi Arabia and stuff. Messi already had that, and he is just gonna be. I mean, he was gonna be the richest athlete ever after this. I think because I think this will snowball him into a category that's like not even seen. Beckham did it. Beckham got I think 99 million playing over 5 years in LA. Bought the club for like 50, and now the club is worth $1 billion. So
Yeah.
I mean, and Messi's going to do the same exact thing, I think. And America is like the last piece of his puzzle, not as only as an athlete, but as a celebrity and a brand. We've saw people like Beckham do it very successfully, and it feels very shades of Pele, New York Cosmos, just kind of like the last tip in a legend's cap. And he's just going to get so many eyes on him in the United States. I think that's part of the thing Messi sees with it. Even though they're last in the East, it's a project. And just like Ronaldo going to Saudi Arabia, you look at Wrexham and non-league football. How many people are talking about those two respective leagues? I think Messi sees that potential with the MLS, which I think that's why it's attractive to him too.
Mm. And also a league very low pressure, very low stakes. I think even if the Barcelona press release about Messi not coming back to Barcelona is a little petty, I do think they made a very good point that he's done it all. He has been in the spotlight. He's had his time to be under the microscope.
Yep.
Who fucking cares how he performs in the MLS when he gets here? Truly. And I think honestly that's a really big selling thing for him as well. He can just come, he can enjoy his ball, he can stay in the warm weather, he can sit out games on turf fields if he wants to, and he can just enjoy the last couple of years of his career. And he deserves to just enjoy the last couple of years of his career.
And there's not a better place to do that than Miami, if we're being honest. I mean,
Exactly.
you mentioned the warm weather,
Exactly.
the lifestyle, the culture that place brings, especially with Messi being from South America, probably feels a little bit more like home. So I mean, you can't really blame him. It's a crazy move for the MLS. I can't even really begin to imagine like what it's going to do for the whole MLS brand and the teams we support as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I really, really think it's going to do big things for the MLS and for the league and for American soccer, the whole culture.
Recording stopped.
We're good. That's just
All right,
Zoom.
cool. Nice
So-
little technical pause there, folks. We heard the word recording stopped in the
All,
Zoom.
all I have to say is slap Renee Higuita's hair on Messi. He becomes the third member of LMFAO, and he's in Miami, bitch.
It's great. Another Argentinian transfer me and Mitch can talk about since we don't have that much to really discuss on this week's episode. Alexis McAllister going through to Liverpool from Brighton, 5-year deal. Mitch, I'll let you talk about it here first.
I think it's absolutely massive. I think it's great that we finally beat other clubs over the line for a player like McAllister, especially after the last, I'd say, 3 years he's had as a player. You can see the growth, like Messi on the Argentinian team, coming off a World Cup, great year with Brighton, and I think he shows a lot of promise technically. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him wear the number 10 shirt for our club. Looks great in red. No, I'm over the moon. I think it's a great signing, especially for the price. I think I think that's a solid piece to our midfield for the future.
Yeah, 35 million. What a bargain. I saw a thing that Southampton have Ward-Prowse priced at 50. So to get McAllister at 35, I think is an absolute steal. It shows how good our transfer department still is, I think. And it also, I think I was getting a little bit annoyed at the end of the season with, people talking about us not being in the Champions League and why we weren't as attractive as a project as we have been. I think this proves we are still an attractive project to get guys, 24-year-old guys like McAllister, who could have went anywhere in the world, to be fair. Yeah, I'm just so excited to have him, just flashing back to those World Cup games where Messi was looking for him in those games, playing off him. To have a guy like Lionel Messi, playing off McAllister, it just shows what a player he is, and we've heard great, raving and reviewing from guys like Adam Lallana at Brighton too about how smart and technical he is as a player too. So I'm just excited for preseason to get a real glimpse at him, start watching him week in, week out. I think he just becomes an automatic starter in this team. And we're probably going to be joined by some other midfielders here in the next couple days with Manu Kone and Kefran Thuram possibly joining us as well.
I think it's a great starting point for our
Yeah.
transfer window this summer. We really needed to start with a bang, especially after missing the chance and kind of pulling out on Jude. I think McAllister is a great shout for a player to just keep your eyes on moving into next year, especially after the year we had in a struggling midfield. I think he does a lot for where we were kind of trying to head.
What a trade too, because we basically traded him for James Milner plus a small fee. And you just mentioned him too, and I didn't have this in the notes, but Jude Bellingham looks like he's going to Real Madrid for sure. $100 million, yep. I think it was. Any final takes on that? I think we've talked about Jude enough, probably.
Yeah, no, I would rather pull a player like Tchouaméni off of Real's
Sure.
bench for like 40 million if they're paying Jude the bag. It's a player we missed out on a couple years ago, and Real seems to just undercut us and find players that we're always trying to sign as Liverpool fans. But it's I don't know, kind of done and dusted. Kind of over the Jude Bellingham saga. Let him go chase his bag and do his thing, and we're gonna be just fine with James.
It's crazy. Is a 6-year deal? I think he'll only be 25 by the time the deal's up. So who knows?
He's a youngster.
He is a youngster.
It's crazy money. It's crazy money for a guy his age. I think it's warranted, and I think he's a great player, and I think he'll do great things for Madrid. And I would have really liked to have him at City. I felt like we had a really good shot at him, but his dad doesn't like us, so he was never coming. At the end of the day, it is what it is. More importantly, City are about to get their Croatian in just in time for a Champions League final. Won't be in the squad, but he'll be in the team, and that's the most important part. Kovacic looks pretty likely to be at City in the coming days here.
Insane that you guys just can. I mean, this hasn't been talked. Those are the best transfers too, the ones that are just not talked about. But that just came up on the news this weekend, like nothing. Like City are just going to pull Kovacic out of Chelsea, and what a signing that is.
Yeah, it's like not super. I think 30 million is the number that's kind of being floated around for Kovacic right now. 29, he's a little old, a little injury prone, but we've signed older like guys on the tail end of that with some injuries in the past, and they haven't really had any issues. I think City have a great medical staff and the ability to rotate our midfield the way that we do. Kovacic just fits right in. I do want to sign one more midfielder because I think we're losing Bernardo Silva, and that's not. Kovacic is a really good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he does everything that Bernardo does. So I think we do need to also bring in like a real world-class midfielder to fill in that role. Yeah, word on the street is Bernardo has kind of told his inner circle and his friends and his family that the Champions League final is going to be the last game he plays for City.
Why do you think that is? I mean, he's been kind of flirting around leaving for a couple years, but he just seems to kind of. Last year he was better, I think, but he seems to just kind of build on his success with City, but he always wants to leave, it feels like.
It's not that he dislikes the club or the players or the fans or anything like that. I think he's got a lot of respect for the club, and he's talked about how much he loves this club. And a big reason he's been so okay with staying is A, because he's a great professional, and B, because of the culture we've built and the surrounding things. He just doesn't like the weather in Manchester. He doesn't like living in England. He doesn't like what England is and represents when you live there. He wants sun. He wants warmth. I want Sheik Mansour to buy an artificial sun so we can keep Bernardo Silva forever. Build him a beach, Sheik. Come on.
You have some
He
paella
doesn't
in
like
Spain.
tall Boston, allegedly.
Yeah.
Well, is he? What is he going to
Manchester's
do?
not tall
Atletico?
Boston. That's London. There's nowhere set in
Nowhere.
stone. There's only a few clubs in the world I think that can afford him because City don't let players go for
Yeah.
cut rate fees. We tend to get what the player is worth. Sane might have been the exception to that, but he had an ACL injury and
Sure.
a lot of other things. But I don't see Bernardo leaving for anything under 85, 90 million. And I think Cancelo's probably on the way out too. But we can do a whole transfers episode later in the season. We got more important stuff to talk about. I think more importantly than that, just staying on on the City front is City have at least got a domestic double in the bag after last weekend. Great 2-1 win over Manchester United in the FA Cup final. Ilkay Gundogan scoring 13 seconds into the game. What a volley that was. Just a long ball from Ortega, Holland down to De Bruyne. De Bruyne just kind of flicks it over to Gundogan with his head, and then De Gea can't make a save to save his life, and just Gundogan put this 1-0 up after 13 seconds. I was running from my
City
car
really
into the bar when that goal went. I walked in and I saw we were up 1-0.
City really pulled the FIFA kickoff glitch in the FA Cup.
It worked.
It did work.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, it was a pretty comfortable game. I think United had their chances. They played all right. I think they got gifted a goal. If we're being frank, I don't think that's ever a penalty. I thought the refereeing all around that game was shocking. I don't think United should have gotten a penalty. I think Casemiro should have either been on a yellow or maybe even sent off that challenge on Akanji, the studs up one.
Yeah.
I think Bernardo probably should have been on a yellow at the end of the first half. I think De Bruyne got fouled, and we should have had a penalty in the second half as well. I just don't think Taylor did. It was Anthony Taylor that refereed that game, right?
Tierney, wasn't it?
Oh, it was Paul Tierney. One of the two, whatever. Whoever it was
Paul
did a very
Tierney goes
poor
full
job.
bald, yeah.
And I don't think that the refereeing was particularly great. But at the end of the day, City won the game, 2-1 win. And what a historic win that was as well. First time there's ever been a Manchester derby in an FA Cup final, and City come out on top 2-1. And if that is the domestic trophy we win to on the way to the treble, it would be so sweet to win the treble and beat United to one of the trophies as well. Just from that's like you guys beating Everton in an FA Cup final to seal a treble. You know what I mean? That's just like, oh, that's gonna feel so good. It's gonna feel so good. Yeah, and that's really all I have to say. I think United City played really well. United played fine, but at the end of the day, City can play kind of poorly and still win games just because they're kind of drilled to that, like, no mistakes, just like good football, and that just wins games at the end of the day. And there were no defensive lapses, and that's why City ended up ultimately coming out winning 2-1.
It's crazy that
also
Gundogan basically scored like the same goal twice too. I mean, the tracking back from Eriksen, I think, was dreadful on that. United's midfield, I think, was the big weak point in that game. I think it's fair to say, which is usually the case in big finals. But specifically Eriksen, I feel like, was at fault for both of the goals, and Gundogan just finishes the same exact finish twice, which is pretty dreadful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have enough superlatives for Ilkay Gundogan, especially this season, last season too. He's an unreal player, man, and he's finally starting to get the plaudits I think he's always deserved just in these last couple of years. He can do literally everything. He's an unbelievable midfielder, and that's my fucking captain.
Is he been your like MVP the back half of this season?
Oh, 100%. He has turned into prime Ronaldo with some of these goals. And I'm talking R9, just give him Give him a shaved triangle into his head. Might as well be the guy. He's been unreal the back half of the season, just coming up with clutch goal after clutch goal after clutch goal. He's unreal, man. I couldn't think of a player I'm happier captaining the club. He leads by example, and I think that's something that a lot of captains maybe don't do. I think people think you need to like yell and shout and be some fucking hard man to be the captain of an English club, and I just don't think that's true. I think Gundogan leads by example, and he doesn't put a foot wrong, and neither does the rest of the team. Yeah, I don't have positive things to say about him, especially after the FA Cup. I thought he was great.
You got to see him score a brace too this year.
I did, and miss a penalty.
That's true. I forgot that was the same game. So going into the big one, you kind of mentioned the nerves are setting in. You know, me and Mitch know that feeling. You know it as well, I guess. You played in another Champions League final a couple years ago, but it's a big lead up to a big game. It feels a little bit different probably this time around, just where it seems like everyone is expecting you to win. I must imagine that feels different.
Yeah, I mean everyone's expecting us to beat Chelsea too, unless you were
true.
Actually, unless you were City fans, then you knew Tuchel had our fucking number that year. So I didn't feel good about that game. I feel good about this game. It feels. I think when the draw was had and we had that episode, Josh, you said it kind of felt like when you guys drew Tottenham, and it's like, how do we lose this game?
Yep.
And that's kind of how this game feels going in. It feels like the perfect storm for City to finally do it, to win the Champions League in one of the most, historic and iconic ways, to be, completing a treble. But there's a lot of nuance that goes into it. I think Inter are going to defend really, really well. And I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as like City are winning the game. But I think Manchester City are the best team in world football right now. And I don't think it's close. I think it's a pretty wide margin between City and the rest of the world. So if they play their game and they just execute, they just do things correctly, we don't have any of those weird big game lapses we've had in the past, which we haven't this season, to be fair. I do think City win the Champions League on Saturday. And I think it's time. I do really think it's finally time, man. I think City are doing it. It just feels right.
Yeah, feels like you had your tough battle already. Again, I'll bring up the Liverpool example just because it's the one we know. But we had to go through Barcelona in that semifinal, the deficit and everything. You had to go through Real Madrid, who broke your heart last year. Felt like that was
and
the
Bayern
hill.
Munich.
Yeah, and Bayern Munich. It felt like those were the hills that you had to get over. You got over them, and now it's about going into a final and just executing.
Yeah,
which I
just
think
play.
they will.
I agree. I think City win the Champions League this year, and then everybody should mute me on Twitter for a couple of days because I'm going to be insufferable.
Good thing I deleted mine, so I don't have to be around for any of that. But
you're in 3 different group chats with me.
I'm gonna see the same text 100 times. If City go on to win this game, but I there's something as a Liverpool fan, we look back on the magic of Istanbul, and I just there's something about the Champions League final where teams can do crazy things, and as on paper as it is, and how fucking clear and obvious it is that City should win this game. There's a big part of me that Inter can come out and put a dagger in the City team. They can score from anywhere. They defend really well, and they attack out of nowhere. So I don't know. I wouldn't count Edin Dzeko out.
I would never. I would never count Edin Dzeko out.
Exactly. I'm just using your words.
Crystal clear.
I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as people think it is. I think Inter will go out and make it a game and make it an exciting Champions League final.
Inzaghi is a final manager too. We know
undefeated.
That is.
He's undefeated in finals.
Yeah.
But Guardiola's never lost a Champions League final either.
Yeah, he has.
That's true. You're right. I'm a face liar.
Pat trying to sneak one at the end.
Shit. cut the tapes. Just cut that out. Editing team. Can we get that out of here? I forgot we lost the Champions League
For a
2 years
second,
ago.
I was like, "Damn, that's a wild record. He's never won the Champions League."
And then I remembered that we lost one 2 years ago. We literally talked about it. It's fine. It's fine.
30
I thought I could
seconds
sneak
ago.
in.
Yeah.
I thought I could sneak in some fake news, and it didn't work.
That's great.
Anyway, oh shit, that's a bad look for me.
Any chance that Lukaku comes on, scores a goal at the death?
Hey,
If Stallions in the stands, I'm scared.
all I gotta say is Lukaku in his moments this Champions League run, he's come on and changed a lot. Came on, almost had a goal, had a big assist, held up play in the offensive end. I don't know. Don't count Inter out. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going to count Inter out. I am going to count Lukaku out because the last time I saw Lukaku play in a big game, he missed 6 big chances in like 3 minutes for Belgium in the World Cup. So
It's true. We also have a speech war this weekend trying to pronounce Calhanoglu's name.
Kalinoglu, Josh.
Kalinoglu.
It is Hakan Kalinoglu.
I'm going to see how many different pronunciations I can come up with over the course of the 90 minutes.
I just gotta have one thing on Lukaku before we move on, and it's that he is impeccable at fucking over Kevin De Bruyne. So
That's true. He has a way of ruining Kevin's day, so you're not totally wrong there.
that's all I gotta say.
Well,
I guess we'll see. I think City are winning. I think 1-0 City. I'm slamming the flag in the ground. I'm coming back to this episode next week. Hung over on a Wednesday because of the weekend I'm going to have, and City are going to complete the treble this weekend.
I don't want to get too preemptive into this because, bad karma for you, but if City do win the Champions League, what's Pat's night going to look like?
We'll say it's going to be the same if we win or we lose. Yeah, it's going to be the same if we win or we lose, but it's just going to be the mood in which I'm doing it.
Fair enough.
It's really unfortunate that I can't go down to the zoo because I'm getting a new windshield, but I was just about to offer just driving Pat's ass around because we all know he's slamming beers.
That doesn't sound like me at all. I don't drink. Come on. I've never heard a beer in my life.
It would have been impeccable comedy if you had one next to you right now, just sipped it.
I don't.
We'll see how the game goes this weekend. We'll obviously be posting about it and stuff, and next week we'll have our kind of Champions League review and final award show, I guess, of the entire season, not just the Prem. We'll wrap up and go into summer break just like the players. Take a little holiday.
Yeah.
Going to
do
Ibiza.
a little main stand season in review, and then we'll be back.
Yeah. Okay.
Best
of luck this weekend, Pat.
Closing thoughts?
Oh, we do have
Thank
a
you so much,
shout
Josh.
out to give. Shout out to give real quick to let me pull it up on Twitter. Suyal Kasam, the winner of our FPL league. You're gonna get a free shirt. So.
Yep. Yeah. Josh will get your info,
Yep.
and we'll kick that out to you. We'll figure out, just favorite club. We'll get you the home shirt of your favorite club from the 22-23 season.
Sir, Mitch,
Congrats
any
on
final
winning that.
thoughts?
We didn't.
All right.
Inter are gonna do it for the other side of Milan.
Go fuck
Get him.
yourself.
Episode 38. That's a wrap, boys.
Thanks
Like,
for
share,
tuning in.
subscribe to the podcast. We'll see you next week.
Deuces.
Peace.